gone, guys. It's all gone. Anyway, hey there, guys. What's up? Sad day, guys. Yeah, hey there, guys. What's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here with another TV episode review. Guys, it is Sunday night, and as you know, Sunday night means Walking Dead reviews. I just watched the newest episode of The Walking Dead tonight, guys, and I know that the last video I uploaded yesterday night was my review of last week's episode. I did a quickie review. Tonight, I am back. Last week was the Oscars, which is why I couldn't watch last week's episode. Now I am back into my normal-ish schedule for Sunday nights because I didn't have anything else to watch, so obviously I'm watching The Walking Dead. And now I'm going to review the new episode, guys. Heavy spoilers, in case you guys didn't already know that. But take one long look at the poster, guys. See that, Rick? See that Rick Grimes with the scruff? That's all gone. That Rick Grimes died. There's a lot of things to discuss with tonight's episode, guys. I want to get right to it. A lot of stuff happened tonight. Really intriguing, really interesting episode, if you ask me. Something we haven't really seen before from the show. So a lot of things I can't wait to get into. Let's start this off. Let's start the review off. First thing first, tonight's episode was Season 5, Episode 12, Remember. And, Greg Nicotero directed it tonight. And he had just directed the season mid-season premiere. So, guys, I had actually just watched both episodes back-to-back, 2 days, the last 2 days back-to-back. I watched last week's episode, The Distance, yesterday, and then I watched Remember tonight. And so it's interesting that I didn't have to wait that long, because especially with how last week's episode ended with that mini cliffhanger of them arriving in Alexandria. Tonight's episode picks up literally right where that left off. And of course, guys, throughout the review, I'm gonna discuss the episode. Now, I'm gonna have to really rely heavily on discussing plot. Because there's a lot of things that happen with the plot, but of course I'm going to analyze what I think is going on with this Alexandria place and what I think is going to happen, and just the fact that this group has to adjust to this new lifestyle. A lot of interesting things to discuss based off of tonight's episode. So the episode picks up right where the last one left off, where the group enters Alexandria. It looks heavily fortified, but as soon as they enter, the first thing I said to myself was, damn, this place, for a really big looking community, there's not that many people walking around. I mean, the last episode we heard little children playing around, we had that shot of Rick in the car and then he hears the children, and then this, it's just nobody's there. So anyway, the group walks in, and one of the first things they're told to do is to give in their guns. And Rick tells the guy that lets them in, who I believe is later revealed to be the husband of a woman named Jessie, who Rick later meets in the episode. I'll get into that. And then Aaron brings them in. Aaron and Eric bring them in to Alexandria. They tell Rick and the gang, listen, you got to give your weapons up. And Rick's like, I don't know if we're staying here, honestly. We're just coming in. We're going to try, see how things work out. And, that's what we're going to have to do. So that is the beginning of the episode. And then I think it literally cuts to Rick meeting with sort of the head of this community. Her name is Deanna Munro. She's this middle-aged woman who used to be involved with politics. I think she was a state senator, I don't know. She was involved in politics somehow. And she meets with Rick. She actually meets with each of the group members, and we don't see her meeting with every single one of them, but what we do see is she sets up a video camera and records them as she meets them. She's talking with them, asking them questions, etc. And we see sort of it kind of reminded me of the Breaking Bad confessionals, honestly, towards the end of Breaking Bad. But we get to see a Rick video, a Carl video, a Glenn, a Daryl, a Carol. Who else? I think that's about it. Yeah, we didn't get to see every single group member, but Rick is the first person, and that is obviously the longest sequence when he first meets with Deanna and he's talking with her, and she basically explains to him of how they put this community together. Apparently, they were supposed to be rescued by this army, never got rescued right when the apocalypse broke out. So they took what they had, using all the resources that they had. Deanna and her husband, who I'm not sure if he's still alive, they took all their resources. They built the walls up. They got the gates and everything going. And now they've built their own community. They've taken people in. But since obviously it's been like a year and a half, 2 years into this apocalypse, maybe they haven't been taking as many people in. She admits to Rick, listen, this is one of the first groups we've taken in a very long time. She's like, you guys. She basically says you guys are really lucky, and that's because, of course, as we all know, Aaron and Eric had been spying on Rick and the group in the last episode. That's how we came to meet them and everything. So. Now, something that Rick says to this Deanna girl, and I love this line. Rick had a couple of really badass lines in tonight's episode. But he says to her, what does he say? He says, you need to stop taking in people. You got to close the gates. He says something like that. Because people are going to literally do anything to survive. If you people have your guard down and let in anybody that you find, things are not going to end well for you. That is exactly, honestly, that's what happened to Terminus. They took in the wrong people. They screwed with the wrong people, and look what happened. Rick and the gang broke out, and Terminus went to shit. But Rick's group isn't like that. They're not the type of group that will kill anyone, like, right on the spot. Like, they're not, like, they're savage in every, like, compared to the lifestyles of the people in Alexandria that we meet in this episode, Rick and the gang definitely come off as really savage. They're dirty, they're grimy, they come in and they don't want to give up their weapons. They have to get adjusted to an entirely whole new different lifestyle because, and Carl says it in this episode, these people have become weaker than what they are. They are stronger. They have their senses. They've been out in this mess longer than these people of Alexandria have. So you can say that maybe some of them have let their guards down, and that's what you can't do during this apocalypse. But Rick and the group, especially Rick, they're on edge. They don't feel comfortable right away once they start to get adjusted, or they can't get adjusted right away within the first 2 nights that they stay in this Alexandria place. As the episode unfolds, they can't get adjusted to everything. It is extremely difficult for them. Not only, like I said, it's a different lifestyle for them, and things are different. They have different rules. They're things feel safe and secure, but these people have weakness, and Rick and the gang, they're not used to that. They're used to being on high alert, on like threat level high alert, being on the lookout for any sort of walker, so it puts them on edge. And we see that unfold, especially in Rick, throughout tonight's episode. And that's the interesting thing that I really like that this episode explored. And the show hasn't done this before on any episode, that this group has to adjust to this entirely new life. And it's different for them, and it's hard for them, especially Daryl, we don't know if he's been in any sort of civilization. This is like the first civilization with like nice houses, people that dress nice. He just doesn't fit in. He's just the really awesome zombie killing redneck in the apocalypse, honestly, and he doesn't fit into this community. And you see that happen. You see the group members being wary of him. They're not sure what to make of him. So I really like all that they explored in this episode. I think they went to uncharted waters with that tonight, and I really like that. But I love how Rick tells her to close the gates, and in one scene where Carl is sort of like associating with other teenagers in one scene, he's spending time with them, and not only can he get adjusted to the comfortable life that they're living, but he also tells Rick later on, I didn't really care for hanging out with them. They're too weak. And he's absolutely right. They've been behind these walls. They feel too safe. They're not as strong as this group is. They haven't been through what this group has been through. And that's even shown when a couple group members go on a supply run with Glenn, Tara, and Noah at some point in the end of the episode, which I'll get to. But anyway, Rick meets this Deanna woman. He has the confessional thing, blah, blah, blah. The group gives in their weapons. A really hilarious moment. Carol is giving in her weapons, and you could tell she's putting on this like fake smile, like she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm all, like of course I'll give him my weapons." But you could tell deep down, Carol, this is not Carol. She does not want to give her weapons, and that's one of the last things she wants to do. And I love that. I just love that. Carol's a boss. Okay, so they basically show the group around. Aaron shows Rick and Carl the two houses, these two really huge, really rich houses that the group is going to be sharing, the entire group, literally the entire group. Rick and Carl check it out. Rick and Carl take a shower, and then in the saddest moment, the whole episode, guys, I'm not joking with you. I started yelling at my TV when he did it, and I knew it was I knew it was coming. Part of me said he's gonna do it. He's gonna freaking do it. They're in this new place. They're gonna have showers. They're gonna have razor blades. He's gonna shave the beard. He shaved the damn beard, guys. He shaved the beard. He shaved the beard, and he got a haircut from this woman named Jessie, this really friendly woman. And I honestly thought the two of them were gonna hit it off because she's young and, they had some sort of a connection when they first met, but she's married apparently. But I don't care. They shaved the beard, guys. I loved Rick Grimes' scruffy version, Rick Grimes. That was so awesome. Come on, man. Don't shave the beard. Rick looks exactly like he did in season 1. Honestly, it looks like he went from season 1 to season 5. That's how he looks now, with the no beard and the trimmed hair. And the only difference is that he looks just slightly a little bit older, obviously because it's been 5 years since season 1 aired, but the beard's gone, guys. I'm upset. Are you guys upset about the beard being shaved? Let me know down below. I grew used to it. I loved it. So that happens, and something that I like about the group, and even Deanna, this head of the group, points it out, that on the first few nights that they get to stay in these two houses, the group decides to sleep in the same house. Like, we have half of the group's in one house, half the group's in the other. They all go into one house and sleep together because, one, not only do they not trust this place, two, they've grown such a huge bond during this apocalypse, in their time that they've spent together. And I guess a part of it was just like them not being able to be separated from the rest of the group members. Deanna even points this out. You get this really interesting shot that pans across the room, and you see, and she's like, look at all of you. You met after this apocalypse broke out. You're all different backgrounds, and you have different past lives. And look at you. Look at the family you've grown. And that only further shows just how tight this group is and how tight they are going to stick together. And it also brought up an interesting question as I was watching this episode. Are the people of Alexandria going to get into this group's head, into anyone in this group's head? Like, say, I don't know, maybe, just throwing out a minor character, say Tara gets used to their customs, and what if like the group and what if Rick's group and the Alexandria group have to part ways at one point? Is everyone in his group going to remain loyal to Rick and to the rest of the group? Or are they going to remain loyal to Alexandria? So a lot of interesting questions that this episode keeps posing up. But anyway, moving on with the story. A lot happened tonight, guys. It's a lot to really talk about. But basically, the episode goes over a process of 2 days. We see video confessionals of some of the group members that I already mentioned. And then we see them getting used to this new lifestyle. Like I said, there's a shot of Carl going to hang out with these teenagers. And so this one teenage girl, as soon as Carl goes into this room in this like house, and he's hanging out with these two teenage guys, and he comes into their room, and there's a girl there who's around their age, and she's sitting on a bed, and she's just like completely like ignoring him, and you can tell Carl's looking at her, and he's like, wow, it's the first time I'm seeing a teen girl in like years. Okay, should I bust a move? And she's just like entirely ignoring him. Like, Carl, give it up, man. It's over. It was so funny. I loved it. Great, really, really interesting moments in tonight's episode. There were some funny moments. There were some really serious moments. And there were some really quiet, somber moments that I honestly really enjoyed. Of just say like group members just like just standing in one certain place, feeling out of place. Like Daryl, for example. He's when the woman's filming when Deanna's filming his video confession thing, he's got an opossum in his hand that he shoots and kills earlier in the episode, and he ends up eating it. But he's just walking around, pacing back and forth. You could tell he's not used to this kind of environment. And you just have shots of him. He's still all grimy looking. You could tell he hasn't showered. The rest of the group has. They're feeling comfortable. They're unwinding a little bit, even though there's some of them, especially Rick, are still on edge. I just really like all that was going on tonight. I mean, they covered something in this show that they haven't done in a very long time. Honestly, I don't know if they've ever done it. Maybe in season 1 when they went to that place with Dr. Gent with the CDC. Maybe then, the group was like adjusting the showers. Like, oh, we haven't been in the shower for this long. We haven't had food like this for like weeks. A couple months. But now it's been years, and they're in this new community that sort of almost reminds them of some of the lives that they may have lived, apart from Daryl. So yeah, they got to get used to that. They got to get readjusted to this lifestyle, and that's what the core of this episode boils down to, and I really like it. You have Rick, who's not able to sleep at night, still feels worry about this place, can't trust it. That's why he suggests the group sleep together in the same house. You have Michonne, who honestly has a good feeling about this place and feels they might actually get somewhere. You have Carol, who you can tell is slowly adjusting to the life here, but you can tell, when Carol needs to, she'll whip out her badass state and kill anyone that she needs to kill or pick off, because that's Carol for you. So yeah, you got all that going on, and there's a great scene between her and Daryl. She walks out and she's wearing like these really clean, not fancy clothes, but like comfortable clothes. She's not in these dirty, grimy clothes. She walks outside. If you guys have seen the episode, I hope you've seen it. I'm spoiling everything. You'll know what I'm talking about. And then Daryl's just like, he takes a look at her, and the shot is over her shoulder, and it's focused on him, and you just see his eyes just like looking at her, and he's just like, what the hell is she wearing? And then he finally says as she walks off, he's like, you look ridiculous. I thought that was great. There were some really, really great moments and some great things for them to explore in tonight's episode that I really honestly liked tonight. I really did. So you have all that going on, and we get to within the final few minutes of the episode, and of course you have a couple of tense moments building up, and then the final scene is incredible, and all that really, really works. Before that, we have a scene of Rick walking around. He decides to go outside of this Alexandria community just to take a walk. Brings his gun with him. The group, by the way, they hand in their guns. They're allowed to keep like their knives and stuff. Daryl can keep his crossbow, but they can't have like any automatic weapon or anything like that. Rick takes his gun, goes outside. Carl, in the meanwhile, sees that same teen girl sneaking out of the Alexandria. He goes and follows her. There's a great moment. There's a shot. She goes into the woods and she runs off, and then you see Carl come into frame. And then I couldn't help but make the Carl can't stay in the house joke. I can't, because he's looking out his window in the house, and she's running, and she leaves she pops the fence. And Carl watches this, and then in one of the next shots, he runs into frame. He left the house, and I'm like, I can't stop making jokes about that. Carl can't stay in the damn house. Still, Carl, we're three seasons since you've finally grown up. It's been 2 seasons since Lori's died. You can't stay in the house still? Really, Carl? I had to bring that up, guys. That was funny as hell. But anyway, Rick's outside, and Rick goes back, and I love this moment. Rick goes back to the place where he buried a gun. There was like this little mini junkyard, a whole bunch of clutter surrounded by this like little shed. And before they go to Alexandria in the end of last week's episode, Rick takes a gun, puts it in a blender, and then puts it like down on the ground, down in this tire, and goes to Alexandria with the rest of the group. He comes back to the same spot and opens the blender to see if the gun's still in there, and it's not. And I like this moment because it poses 2 possible outcomes. Some guy or girl on their own came by, decided to take a look in the blender, felt like having a smoothie, and found the gun and took it themselves, or Aaron and Eric really have been spying on this group. They saw Rick put the gun in the blender. They came back one night, took the gun out, and have it themselves. But I have a feeling this gun is going to come back into play. And I love how it ties into what Rick did at the end of Season 4 with the Terminus guns. He buried them outside of Terminus and ends up using them he unburies them. He digs them up in the end of the Season 5 premiere. Now he puts the gun in the blender for safekeeping last episode, and now it's gone. So Carl ends up crossing paths with him. They pick off a few walkers with their knives and stuff. And I just really love that moment. What happened to that gun? I have a feeling that while these people are like overly nice and like they're not aware of what lies, of like the dangers that honestly lie out there, not just in terms of walkers but in terms of people, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, they're like overly nice, and Rick and the others, they're still smart about this, and that is what, and I'm really interested to see what happened to this gun. Where is it? I bet one of them took it. Yes, they are overly nice, and they have this great community, but are they really spying on these people, keeping serious tabs on them, watching literally every single thing they do? And and you can tell that they're watching Daryl very closely, especially with what happens next. We have Glenn, Noah, and Tara go out on a supply run briefly into the woods with this guy named Aiden, who is the son of Deanna Munro, and this other guy, Jesse's husband, I believe, that woman that Rick befriends who cuts his hair. They go out, and they had a walker tied to a tree, and he got free, and then it comes back, and they tell Glenn, Tara, and Noah to stay back, don't do anything. And then they clearly can't handle this walker. They're not handling it right. It's like nearly bites them both. And then Tara intervenes and almost bites her. And then Glenn stabs in the head. And Aiden and Jesse's husband get pissed at Glenn. And you could tell that Glenn is not happy with them either, because they don't know how to deal with these walkers properly. They're treating them honestly, like they're no big deal. Meanwhile, this group has much more experience than them, and honestly, can you really blame them? They've had this community for so long. However, you got to get experienced people to go out in this. I'm sorry. So they go back. A mini fight breaks out when they get back behind the fences. And so they break up the fight. Rick's group comes and intervenes between Glenn and Aiden. Daryl gets involved. You can tell that they don't trust Daryl. I really can't wait to see what they're going to do with that, because Daryl does not fit into this place at all, and I'm really curious to see where they're going to go with that. And then this Deanna girl, who is trying to find roles for each group member, each of Rick's group members. Each person has to have a job to do. She tells Rick that she wants him to be their constable, and she wants Michonne to be at his right-hand side. And we're like, yes, Sheriff Rick is back. And then the very end of the episode, this scene just hit me. I love it. The whole episode focuses primarily on Rick, how he's not sure of this place, he's wary of it, can't sleep at night, stays up late at night, is watching outside to make sure nothing bad is going to happen, just like they would be doing if they were sleeping in some barn. They can't sleep he has to sleep with one eye open, he can't even sleep, and one eye closed. But now Rick, we get to see him. He comes down the stairs of the house that the whole group is in, and he's wearing the constable uniform. We're like, old Rick is back. Let's see what he's going to do next. And he's like, you know what? I think we can sleep in the different houses. So it seems like, for that one split second, it seems like he really trusts this place. And he's like, you know what? Maybe we can make something out of this place. I have faith in it. Then he goes outside and speaks to Daryl and Carol, saying, he's just trying on the constable suit just for the hell of it. And he's going to start, they've basically, they're starting to get adjusted to this slowly but surely. You got to take it a day at a time. And he tells them that he's still he tells Daryl and Carol he's still a little unsure of this group, this Alexandria group, because they are weaker than they are, and they don't have the intelligence and the quick strength that this group has when it comes to taking out walkers. They don't have the experience that Rick and the gang has, because they've been out there for so long. So Rick tells them, if worse comes to worse, I'm paraphrasing, we'll take it from them. Meaning, we'll take Alexandria from them, we'll take it over for ourselves if they can't handle this. You know, if it comes to the point where they're getting in our way and they're going to get some of our own people killed and they're not strong enough for this world, whenever they go outside the gates, they will take everybody out that they need to just to claim the place for themselves. And my mouth dropped. My mouth dropped, guys. Best moment of the episode tonight, because I didn't see it coming. You know, it just goes to show how far Rick is going to go. He has gone down that savage path. He has. We've seen it before. He's ripped a guy's neck out. He will go even further. Not just for himself, not just for Carl, not just for Judith, for his entire family, and just for them. He cares about this Alexandria group. They took them in. They're watching. They're giving them a roof over their heads. But can't trust them. One, he can't trust them, and two, they pose a threat to themselves because they don't have enough experience. And they pose a threat to his own group. And if he sees that weakness, and if it puts his group in danger, he's going to take care of it. And they're going to take over this place. I love that moment. Perfect. Guys, I really love tonight's episode. There you have it. That was the whole episode. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. I got to say, the fact that they are in Northern Virginia now, the story is set in Northern Virginia now. They're out of Georgia. They're in this community, this sort of safe zone they've never been in before. We've never seen this before from the show. And it's really exciting. We don't get a lot of Walker kills in this episode, but we get this sort of political tension going on throughout bits. We get tension towards the end of the episode. We get these really quiet, somber moments of the group members trying to get readjusted. We get a lot of focus on Rick, who's clearly just on edge, despite the fact that they are in what looks like, as of now, a safe place, but you can never be too careful. It was very well directed and shot, tonight's episode. The score was great. It was very quiet and very dramatic and, very, very soft. I loved it. I really liked tonight's episode, guys. It might be my favorite episode of the second half of the season so far. I'm going pretty high. I'm going to go 9.25 out of 10, or a solid A- for tonight's episode. Very good job. They're bringing us into new territory on the show, a place we've never been to before with Terminus or with Woodbury, honestly, and I really like where they're doing. I like seeing this group in this community. I'm pissed as hell that Rick had to shave the beard, but you know what? I like this change. I like how something bad is going to happen to somebody in this group. It could be anyone. Something bad is going to happen. Nothing good lasts forever, as we know. And I'm just really excited to see where they're going to go with this. I like the new direction the show has taken and the new place the group has arrived at. And I'm feeling really good about it, guys. I really, really enjoyed tonight's episode. The only thing, if I had to bitch about something, I felt that I wanted to see a bit more of some of the group members. We just get shots of Abraham, Rosita. I didn't even see Father Gabriel in this episode. We get just a shot of Eugene, just a couple shots of them, and we don't really get their input yet. And that's something I hope that the future episodes are going to do. They're going to give their thoughts on this place, but we have to wait and see. So, guys, what did you think of tonight's episode? Did you really like it? Do you like where this show is headed? What do you think of this Alexandria safe zone? Do you trust it? Do you like what Rick said at the end and that badass moment he had? Did you like the funny moments? Guys, what did you think of tonight's episode? Let me know down below. Leave me your predictions for next week. And I will hopefully see you guys in my review for next week's episode of The Walking Dead. I will see you then, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.